welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're here, you're probably a current or aspiring product manager or product designer. You're probably feeling the effects of a noisy, competitive environment where it's easy to feel a bit invisible. The good news is that there are genuinely ways to stand out in this market, and that's what we'll be focusing on today. You're not just going to be hearing from me, thankfully. We've got an amazing group of panelists here to kind of share their insights in the industry and answer a few of my questions and answer a few of your questions too. They will share their firsthand accounts and real-world practical advice for how to launch a product design career. Ideally, what we'd like you to take away from the session are insights that you can apply immediately to become the UX UI design candidate that recruiters can't ignore. So to give context on how this partnership came about and contributes to the Career Accelerator, the partnership between King's College London and FourthRev really brings together the best of university education and industry best practices to design and deliver career accelerators. It's a learning model that's purpose-built to fast-track careers. These career-focused online programs equip our learners with the deep and varied knowledge, the practical skills, and the recognition required to unlock tangible results in the job market. In support of the goals of the Career Accelerator, events like this one have been created to inform and to inspire potential learners about their field of interest. Let's start with what's driving the shift in product design. The demand for product design talent is evolving. AI is now a fundamental part of how products are designed, tested, and delivered. That means that the skills required to succeed in this field are shifting too. So today's session will help you understand where those opportunities are and how you can position yourself to take advantage of them. So let's get started, and I'd love to have our panel of experts introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Evie. I'm currently a UX UI designer here in London, working at a startup, actually. So quite a dynamic, fast-paced environment, and it's actually in the beauty industry. So everything to do with hair color and the future of it. But background, I completed the program about 2.5 years ago. So yeah, and I decided to take that course on when I was about a year into my current role. So yeah, that's my background.
Hello, my name is Justin. I am a subject lead and course facilitator here at FourthRev. So I helped build the program from the early days, I think when Evie started, and I still facilitate a couple cohorts a year. My background is in product design and even product management, where I've worked for the past decade, mostly in the UK. I worked at British Telecom for quite a while, looking after their research, product design, and design thinking teams across different areas of the business. So happy to be here, share my experiences, and look forward to this session.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I'm a Global Human Resource Manager. I've done my master's degree in London and currently working in hospitality. I have experience mostly in retail marketing, but I'm very excited to share my insights regarding the job market through the product design, and so happy to be with you.
Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourselves. And to our audience, you can tell we've got an excellent panel to get into today. I do want to just remind you to add any questions that you have in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and we will set some time aside at the end to get into your questions. So what does the product design landscape look like? From our experience, we see people who are interested in product design wanting to do meaningful work, to create products and experiences that improve lives and solve problems through design. So here's why product design is an attractive career option right now. skilled product designers are valuable across a broad range of industries, which means that the opportunities are diverse and evolving. In the UK, we're seeing an average salary range from about 30,000 to about 70,000 for product designers. That really does depend on the seniority, because you can get even more than that for an even higher or more senior role. In an increasingly tech-driven world, companies are also continuing to recognize the value that great product design brings to businesses. For example, Amazon Web Service reported that if a user's online experience with a business is bad, 88% of the consumers won't return to that site. Companies are realizing that user-centered design is crucial for success and for customer satisfaction. Kate, I'm going to lean on you here, but as someone who places talent in this space, what's your take on the current job market for UX and UI product designers?
Well, from my opinion, the market is definitely active, competitive, but it's also more selective. Companies are hiring, especially in e-commerce, fintech, and healthcare, but what they are looking for designers who bring more than strong UA skills. And what I'm seeing is a shift toward designers who can combine good visual sense with user understanding, business awareness, and ability to work across the teams. And with AI coming in, the expectations around adaptability are higher. So yes, the opportunities are absolutely there, but the candidates who stand out are the ones who show depth, not just nice screens. So I advise to all the candidates to be yourself, to show what skills you have, what experience you have, and how can you adapt all of these to the company to deliver the best outcome.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights into the industry, and it's exciting to know that it is so active.
Yeah, it is so active. Nowadays, like most of the people, especially young generation, they thrive to pursue their degrees in product design because it's competitive, but they try to be the best ones and the leaders on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit about what kind of helps a good product designer stand out from the crowd as we move through this conversation. The role of a product designer really blends a lot of creative problem solving, technical skills, and user empathy. AI can enhance many of these tasks, from predicting user behavior to generating wireframes, allowing designers to focus on strategy, on innovation, and tapping into their uniquely human skills to build products and experience that real people love. Evie, how are you personally integrating AI into your workflows right now, and what has actually proven useful versus what's just hype?
So I think it goes back to what Kate was saying, where UX designers now, there's a beyond just visuals, there's that expectation of strategy as well. And I think for me, I work for a very digital first company. So it's all about staying ahead. And the way I look at it is that there's things that I can do to improve my inefficiencies. I think so. AI for me is about using it for speed. So speeding up, say when I have like large amounts of insights, can I use AI to group them by themes? So more mundane tasks like that, or generating UX copy, or doing a competitive analysis, let's say. But I think, like you said, Danny, the one thing I can't replace it is when I have those themes, those reoccurring themes, is using my like human empathy and that deep understanding of a user to then give that like validation to it. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, is like work inefficiencies, small tasks, of like how I can keep my work moving forward at a faster pace, actually.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that. One of the greatest things about product design is that it's a field that's highly relevant to those wanting to change careers. So both from fields that may seem unrelated, or from ones where product design is a more obvious next step. People come into product design from a variety of different backgrounds. So some common paths can include marketing, psychology, graphic design, web design. Yeah, I think psychology, I speak to a lot of learners from psychology wanting to move into product design. There are a lot of transferable skills within these careers, and that you can bring these into this field. So you'll see some of those right there, some of those transferable skills. But we can also chat a little bit more about those transferable skills as we discuss the program and whether it's a right fit for you. We'll cover those a little bit later, but one of the keys to making a successful transition into product design is to focus on developing the most valuable core skills that are needed in product design and to build a portfolio that showcases them. This is where comprehensive education and practical training can be incredibly valuable, but we'll take on a little bit more on that in a bit. Justin, as an experienced product designer and course facilitator, what skills from your previous roles turned out to be the most useful in a design career?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, first I'd probably say that my I did quite a big career transition from finance and investor relations, which is kind of like finance meets PR. But then I did start as a product manager, and so it was a bit of a natural transition, and well, not natural, but easier transition into UX because I'm seeing it every day and into product design. But before that, I'd say there are quite a few key skills. I think one of them is like if you've done any kind of research already. So in most jobs, especially if you're doing something strategic, you will have needed to do research, make sure it's not biased, make strategic decisions off that. That is still part of many product designers' roles, especially smaller teams that don't have a user researcher. I think that's a really important one. Communication, of course, is very key. Soft skills are important as a designer. You need to be able to communicate. And then in my roles, it required like a massive attention to detail, whether I was an accountant or I was doing working with investors. I couldn't miss anything. And I think as a product designer, you can't just do something. You can when you're doing wireframes or mock-ups or early in the process, but eventually you need to have a refined product that goes live to users. So attention to detail is really key. Yeah, if you've done any kind of optimization, that's ultimately what you're doing as a product designer. Mostly you're optimizing the experience for the user. Sure, sometimes you'll be doing or always be working towards a sort of business goal. But if you have any experience optimizing anything, I think that is a really good one to use. And then of course the elephant in the room is there is a hard skill of designing that you do need to learn to become marketable. That's where our course comes in. But of course you can start learning that, before the course or on your own as well. But yeah, I think those are some of the key things that helped me. It did help to be in a product management team before, so I could really see, I had, read about it. I actually did a secondment at Ogilvy with digital marketing a long time ago before it was called UX. We were doing wireframes and stuff that was very similar to what UX designers are doing now. But I did get an inside view. So, talk to someone in that field if you don't have direct access to it right away.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're you're such a good person to chat to about the relevant transferable skills because of your career background, which is great. And so I'm so happy to have you here sharing that with us today.
Yeah, I think I do believe that there's transferable skills in every role, but eventually in product design that you will need to learn the hard skill of designing to really make yourself marketable. I think that's very critical to learn.
Of course, yeah. So to become a successful product designer, there are several key skills that you'll need to develop, as Justin has touched on, but just to name a few, it's user research, so learning how to gather and analyze user data, wireframing and prototyping, so creating the blueprints of your designs, visual design, so developing your eye for aesthetic aesthetics and for layouts, usability testing, so understanding how to validate your designs with real users, design software proficiency, so mastering tools like Figma or Sketch, a basic understanding of HTML and CSS, so this helps you communicate better with developers, and then Gen AI literacy, like prompt engineering, data-driven design, and AI for accessibility. Microsoft has recently reported that 66% of leaders say that they wouldn't hire someone without Gen AI skills on platforms like ChatGPT and similar. So you can see how it's really starting to integrate into the market there. But developing these skills really takes time and it takes practice. But with dedication and the right guidance, it is absolutely achievable for a career switch into product design. Justin, for someone just starting out, which core skills should they focus on just in the beginning to start building and gaining that momentum for their careers?
Yeah, I think I've already mentioned getting comfortable with design. So I mean, that would be like, Figma is free to download. There's a ton of tutorials online. You could even I'm sure Evie would say if she had done this probably before the course, it would you could level up even more when you start the course because you have more time to do it. So definitely Figma. Understand the concept of user-centered thinking and human-centered design because it's quite new to a lot of people, and it's what our profession is really based on, and we are designing for users. So understand how you do that. Example with things like testing your work and being extremely open to feedback, and nothing's personal. You're always trying to improve what you put out, and understanding that you are not creating art for yourself or your company. It is for an end user and has a purpose. So understanding that concept of user-centered thinking, and then getting familiar with conducting research. I mean, not every product designer does research. My career shifted away from product design and towards research, so I have a bias towards it. But usually, especially in the industry today where teams are so lean, and historically, I tell my learners, even though I love user research and that's where I've went with my career, the job opportunities are worse. You're first to get cut budget wise. It's important that you develop the design skill in addition to it. But being able to conduct research is important because if there's no researcher and you're a product designer, you'll need to do it. And then, of course, if you want to go in the field of user research, then you can go that way. So I think those are the three key kind of industry specific skills. Of course, if you don't have good communication and stakeholder management and all that kind of stuff, then you need to work on that as well. And these, of course, are all things that we help you in the course. Oh, one more thing I will say, sorry, is AI. So I think right now the big focus on AI is, of course, around efficiency and supporting you with tasks and kind of being like an AI assistant. But and we do teach it in one of our AI webinars, AI will become a massive tool for generating design output. It already is with tools like UX pilots. I think it will get to the point where 80% of design is done by AI, and the product designer is there to refine it, make corrections to make sure it's unique and reflects their brand and their purpose. So I think even if it's not fully mature and everyone's not embracing it fully, to practice with those tools, I think you could have a leg up on someone else if you're maybe lacking in skills versus others, but you can really design efficiently with AI, or you see potential there. It could put you on good footing to apply for roles. But I would just make sure you're keeping up to date with AI and get familiar, because other people like product managers are coming for you with tools like Lovable and Bolt and these prototyping tools. So everyone thinks that their job is always needed and it can't be taken. So we need to embrace it. And I think product designers will as an industry, but do practice your AI skills as well, even if it's not immediately you're using it to produce designs.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not as a simple question as what's the first to focus on. It's quite a range. So I guess it's just naturally what draws the learner's interest in first, and then from there build up and explore. And exactly what the Career Accelerator does, it kind of gives you those skills from the whole life cycle. So allows you opportunities to explore all of those divisions.
So I could dumb it down to practice design, see how AI can support it, and then understand user-centered thinking. Those would be the two main ones to really, that kind of covers everything.
Perfect. Kate, when you are reviewing candidates, which skills or portfolios tend to stand out in interviews?
Well, first of all, I want to agree with Justin. Wherever he mentioned below, everything is 100% correct. When you are a product designer, you have to know the market very well. And you have to develop at the same time the skills which are trendy. And using AI, I think it helps us to save our time, but it cannot help us to be unique. So the product designer must have the skills, or like Justin said, the hard skills. Not everyone can be excellent regarding the hard skills. So the AI can just help us to prompt some ideas, but whatever outcome we want, it's our work to do. And from the HR perspective, the portfolios that really stand out are the ones that show how the designer thinks, not just the final UI, but the journey. I look for clarity. What problem are you solving? What do you learn from users? What do feedback or data change your direction? And what impact do the final design have? Another thing that makes someone unforgettable is the way they talk through their work. Where the candidate communicates calmly, clearly, and can explain their decisions in a simple way, it shows the maturity that the person knows what is he doing, how can he solve the problem. So this vision, his vision would help the company to deliver the better outcome. And the collaboration is a big one too, showing how they work with, for example, engineers or PMs always signals that they are ready for real product environments. And I remember that I've attended one event regarding AI. The topic was, can AI change humans? Like our skills. No, humans cannot change us. And there was mentioned that the three skills, and one of them is like communication skills and the diversity in the world, in the organization, like people from different backgrounds. We need to manage them. We need to communicate with them, because if we would not have these skills, we cannot deliver the goal what we have for the product.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kate. Evie, you worked on the Career Accelerator, you worked on real world projects. How did that help you build skills and confidence in your role?
I think when you study things and you study it on paper, it feels very abstract, and although it's giving you the black and white frameworks, applying that is very different. And I think it goes back to that saying of learning by doing. And I think when you apply it to a real world context, the things that you've learned start to stick a bit more. And I guess real projects at work, in real life, and these briefs, they're not always smooth sailing. Sometimes there is a lot of obstacles, and there's different ways to tackle the same problem, and it's all about communicating. And because what you'll do is you work as a team, and it's like what Kate said, where if you've come from a background and you've communicated with other people with diverse perspectives and opinions, it's really good to do that on the course in a real world, with a real world brief, because it really shapes it and it gives you an example of what it will be like in the real world. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. And then I guess like when you go to interviews, it's great to be able to showcase that you've worked on a real life project. Because especially if you're not coming from say that background with a product design like portfolio, it's good to showcase all of these essential skills here to put them into one project linked to a real company. So I would say that's probably the thing that builds a lot of skill and confidence for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's definitely one of the advantages of taking a career accelerator is that you have the employer project at the end of the program and you walk away with your digital portfolio. And Kate touched on it when you're in your interviews. This is what they look at, your portfolio and how you can communicate the projects that you've worked on. So it is essential and definitely one of the benefits of the career accelerator. So thank you so much for your insights, everyone. Let's look into an exciting area that's reshaping the future of AI and the future of product design, which is AI. And I know that we have spoken a little bit about it, but let's chat a little bit more about the hype. Is the hype justified, basically? We need to take a step back and look at exactly where it's useful and where it's not useful. So while AI alone is not going to make you the best product designer out there, knowledge of what of what opportunities exist within AI, within your role, and learning how to harness them can be a powerful career differentiator. It's already reshaping UX and UI. It's helping in areas like user research or wireframing and rapid prototyping, personalization at scale, and accessibility. But there are also clear areas where the human touch still has the edge. And most of it revolves around our innate knowledge of what it actually means to be a human. Areas like empathy or areas like creative intuition and an understanding of emotional needs are still incredibly important. Justin, where do you see AI creating meaningful lift in the design process, and where do you think human skills still lead there?
Yeah, well, I've already mentioned my big like 80-20 thing where I do think AI will take over a lot of the heavy lifting of the product design, the actual activity, which I think is going to be ultimately a good thing for the industry. And if we look at tools like Figma and before that Sketch, they made it much easier. Like when I first became a product designer, I was more interested in UX design and research because I didn't want to push pixels. And back then you like really would have to like super attention to detail. And now things can even be automated so much more with Figma even before like the AI rise. So I do think that will be a massive change. Of course, it's going to improve efficiencies in various ways. So helping you draft first. I'm sure Evie does this. Draft like first research questions or like help with the usability test, or using it as a tool to double check your work is really good. So checking for bias in your answers, especially if you're new, I think you can use AI as a mentor. I think there's like if I looked at some of the learners submissions over the last year, and just out of interest, when I do my feedback, I would put it through some AI tools and see what kind of feedback the AI would give and what kind of designs it would suggest. And if they had just tried the design first themselves and applied the design principles we taught, and then had AI check their work, and like they could have actually learned quite a lot faster and produced better work. So I think it can be good at checking your work. It is a bit harder when you're more junior because you don't know exactly best practice and not best practice, but we do teach that, of course, here at FourthRev. So I think it can be a great sounding board for either junior or senior to help you like flesh out ideas and think critically. That's certainly what I use it for quite a lot. But obviously, like the final decisions and review and output needs to be checked and aligned with your thinking, with your business context. Like AI doesn't have all the context. Most people are working within like a Gen AI, and it's limited within a single chat, right, of how much context it can deal with. So it doesn't have every single context that you have. So I think it's very powerful, and it's obviously changing the way we work. And there are very specific tools out there, like we teach an AI webinar on UX Pilot on how to develop wireframes and designs quite quickly with UI with prompts. But it's important to recognize that there are gaps in AI's thinking, and it needs to be checked by you, and you need to make sure that it's it does make us smarter, but I think it makes people feel like they're almost like infallible or like overly impressive. And then, we, in our PM course, especially, we give like really strong guidance, which will transferring over to the product design course about, reread what you produced with AI as if you're the person receiving that, and see if it makes sense and doesn't sound like, wishy-washy. I mean, really be conscious about like what you're putting out there, and not just be obsessed with speed and pushing it out. But yeah, I think there's it's going to support a lot. It will automate a lot of tasks. It will even be doing design. But I think critical thinking is still very important, and then understanding like good design is still key, because you need to be able to create unique designs for your company and solve unique problems. And if you're just churning out whatever AI does, then everyone else can do the same. So, yeah.
Exactly. I think AI just really changes where the expertise is, but being able to apply that critical thinking is still the number one takeout from how AI fits into many different roles.
Yeah.
On that, so Kate, are employers expecting AI literacy at entry or mid-level, or are they more focused on the human-centered skills still at the top of the filters when looking at candidates?
Well, human-centered skills are still the foundation. That's the part of design that has not changed, even with all the AI tools coming into the workflow. When I speak with hiring managers, they are still prioritizing people who can understand users, think critically, solve problems, and communicate well across teams. Those are the qualities that actually drive good product decisions. And as Justin said, that AI, we can use AI as a mentor or a coach. Me personally, I use every day to ask to give me to prompt some ideas and then develop it. And AI literacy is becoming a helpful advantage, not a requirement. And in the real workplace, if someone like is comfortable using AI to speed up research, generate ideas, support prototyping, it shows they are adaptable. But no one is expecting entry or mid-level designers to be AI specialists, because AI cannot deliver the empathy, the right feelings, because in the organization, people need your empathy, your support, some incentives, which is from like a personal side, not like greed or like material side. The way I see it, AI can make the process faster, but it can't replace empathy or judgment, and that's why the human-centered side is still the first filter for employers.
Yeah, I understand that communication and that empathy is still kind of critical to being a successful UX designer. So it's good to hear you reaffirming that, Kate. Not all is lost to AI just yet.
Yes.
Evie, which AI tools have you actually found useful in your real work, and which ones have fallen short?
So, like Justin said, there's one on Figma, which is obviously FourthRev. And then they've also launched a bunch of tools, because Figma is like the powerhouse of UX design. They've launched quite a few because they've obviously spotted those behaviors. So there's first draft, there's the prototyping one, which is a really great one. Which essentially takes out the mundane task of like linking everything up so it prototypes properly. So that's a really great one. And I think with those, although at the moment they do fall short slightly, because what they're trying to do at the minute is they're trying to understand the ways in which people are using them. So it's a little bit like an experimentation phase at the moment. That's what I feel, to see how it will be used, where they need to improve it. So it definitely requires that it'll output something, but it does take you to go in and adjust that and change it and put that human judgment on. But I also feel like us as designers, I think it goes beyond just using the tool itself, but it's getting better at prompting it as well. Because I must admit, when I've done first draft, I've just put in a quick input, and yeah, it hasn't input really the most unique solution, but I think that's something I would say is a really good skill to learn, is like learn how to prompt better, learn how that you can direct AI to give you like more unique solutions. I think that will definitely be a skill which will be really useful on real work, and that definitely even I'm trying to actively try and get better at. And then also I've been using, there's a site called Framer, which is it essentially allows you to build websites. It's a little bit like Webflow, but far more intuitive. And it's actually got an AI component generator essentially. So instead of writing the custom code, you can input prompts to create components and interactions on your website, which actually works very, very well. So that's another one I've used. But I guess like in terms of use on real work and just going back to the general conversation, is that even me now with designing our app, I'm designing for a lot of AI features, let's say. And I don't think if you're not a person that's taking on AI and seeing what the push and pull of it is and what the capabilities are as a designer, it's really hard to then even design for AI in your solutions, because that is a big product design push now. So I think that's why it's even more valuable to show that you're open to it and how you're using it in your real work, if that makes sense.
Of course, thank you so much for sharing those insights. And I saw Justin nodding in enthusiasm when you mentioned Framer. So it sounds like he's a nod of approval there. We've also provided you with with the audience, with a list of AI tools and a little bit of, tools that mapped out against their requirements that you might need them for in the design process. Some might be familiar to you, some might not be, but the point is you need to know what is available, and we want you to know what's available and to explore those options. So you can find the best tools for your specific needs here. Using AI is going to be a career differentiator for you. We will share this recording of the session with you afterwards, and you can refer back to this list at any time, and you can move through it and you can play around with the tools that you see here. Now that we have seen a little bit about what a product designer does and the skills that are required for product design, let's look at a clear, practical roadmap to help you get there. So first, you need to be able to identify your transferable skills. You might be surprised how many skills from your current or one of your past roles already align with being a UX and UI designer. Whether it's problem solving, visual storytelling, or customer empathy, these are all important for a successful career within product design. Next, it's about engaging in structured training. So getting practical project-based courses from credible institutions can give you both the technical and the strategic skills needed to succeed, as well as the backing to stand out in the market and the confidence to be able to take it forward in interviews and be able to communicate your capabilities for those specific roles. Then it's really all about building your portfolio. This is your proof of capability. So even if you haven't had any client work, you can build case studies in the practical courses that you choose, as well as through hackathons, through volunteering, or even redesigning existing products on the market. That portfolio is going to be key when you are applying for roles within product design. And then don't go alone, seek support, whether it's mentorship. As you heard from Justin, you can even get mentorship from AI, whether it's support with career coaching, or it's a peer community, or it's, just having the right people in your corner can accelerate your progress within a career in product design. And finally, you can navigate the job market with confidence. So use the tools and the support you've gained to stand out in applications, in your interviews, and in networking opportunities. Really focus on being able to stand out in the crowd. Each of these steps really builds on from the one before. So with the right approach, breaking into product design is absolutely within your reach. And if you're excited about the possibility of a career in product design, I am thrilled to talk a little bit more about the Career Accelerator, so the King's UX and UI Product Design Career Accelerator. This program is designed specifically to help people like you to make a successful transition in this dynamic field. Our comprehensive curriculum covers all the essential skills that we've discussed today, from user research and wireframing to visual design and to usability testing. One of the key areas that sets this program apart is its focus on the practical hands-on learning. 50% of this program is practice-based. So you'll learn on real-world projects that you can include in your portfolio. We'll be giving you valuable practice and insights, and you will develop the skills that create tangible examples to show to future employers through this program. It's led by industry experts who bring you current relevant experience to their teaching. And importantly, we don't just teach you the skills, we also provide you the career support to help you land the career outcome that you're after. We have professional career coaches who you'll have sessions with as part of your learning experience, which, by the way, has been an absolute game changer for many of our learners in ways that they have never even expected. There is also a team of success managers that are on hand to help you plan and to troubleshoot any of your studies, as well as facilitators for academic support and expert teaching. You'll also be applying AI during your employer project, so being able to document prompts, decisions, and results. That portfolio of evidence shows the measurable impact you can make as a product designer and really helps you stand out when you are applying to product design roles. Here are a few quotes from some of our past learners who have come from a variety of backgrounds with different goals that they've wanted to achieve from the program to help them with that successful transition. Justin, you've worked quite closely with with learners throughout the program. What kind of skills and experience do you see helping them build confidence and unlock that real career momentum from the program?
Yeah, sure. So I think one is being able to meet weekly with the facilitators and get feedback and see examples of good work. They can compare it to what they're doing throughout the program, and that definitely makes them feel more comfortable. There's opportunity to use one-to-one per one per course, so it's quite a lot of opportunities. Then of course designing with Figma. So like at the beginning of we start teaching it in course 2, they get it's quite uncomfortable for a lot of people because they're very new to designing with Figma. And then the more they do it and see that they can actually pick things up quite quickly, to be honest, they learn way faster than I did. I didn't do a boot camp like this. So that builds a lot of confidence when they see how quickly they can start designing relatively well and get feedback on it. I mean, it is harder for some than it is for others, but it does help. And then we already talked about the projects themselves. And then Evie was talking about the interviewing. Like the more you interview and like build your portfolio and get feedback on it, then your confidence grows.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Justin. You've definitely helped a lot of learners transition through your experience on the Career Accelerator. And it's also really exciting to have a past learner with us in the panel, not just these learners on the screen. But Evie, can you give us some idea of what your experience on the Career Accelerator was like and what you enjoyed most about it?
Um, I mean, the background, the whole reason I did it was I wanted to essentially establish a more structured and scalable approach to how we went about user-centered design at our startup company. And what I guess what the accelerator gave me, it gave me from all the way from discovery to delivery, it gave me all the tools, the frameworks that I could use in that end-to-end process to rely on and bring into the company. So it provided me with all of that knowledge, and since then, since implementing that actually in quite a lean way, we've done it because we've adapted it to what worked for our environment. But the results that we've seen for the user and the business are better. But I guess from a personal growth side, it it gave me that confidence to own that end-to-end design process, because at that point in time, I had some knowledge, but not in a very structured manner. And it just gave me that like background to like more of an established knowledge base. Um, but also again, like I think we touched on it before, was that communication skill. So communicating to stakeholders through storytelling and be able to talk about the user, it's helped me get a lot better at that. And then probably finally, I think the biggest thing that it helped with is that, and Kate said a really good point about it for CVs as well, is that I went from quite a visual designer, just jumping straight to designs, to being more strategy focused. And it really helps in that way. And I think that is a key skill to gain the knowledge about it, because it's the wider ripple effect of UX design and the effect that has on the business and stakeholders and how you work with other people. That's what the course gives you, because realistically, a lot of people can be good visual designers, but that strategy mindset, that structure, that idea of the whole process is what it really helped me with, and that's probably what I gained the most from.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think, even learners coming into the program that have a little bit of experience in product design or UX design, it really helps formalize and validate that experience, like you said, and builds up on that confidence. But we also help learners that don't have any experience within UX or product design, and really helps them build up those foundations from the bottom up. So if you are thinking about the Career Accelerator, I highly encourage you to reach out to your enrollment advisor, and they will have a one-on-one conversation with you about what is your work experience, what are the transferable skills, why are you looking to change, what are your career goals, really making sure that the Career Accelerator is the right fit for you. So can definitely recommend having that experience. Evie, after this, I'm gonna go look to see who your enrollment advisor was, because maybe it was me back in the day. That would be
I
fun.
can't remember, I must admit. I think he was on the last webinar I was on, but I'm terrible. I can't remember his name.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna go have a look and share your outcomes with them, because they'll be so happy to know. We have about 10 minutes left, and I'd love to get into this Q&A. I can see there are a few questions in here, and while I have this panel to lean on, I'm going to read through some of the questions and see how we can answer some of your questions. I'll try and get through to all of them. Let's see how many we can do. How does UI or UX improve the perceived quality of the product, and what are the new industry standards used and benchmarks in this field? Justin, do you potentially want to take this question?
I mean, it's ultimately the interface that the user sees. So it's, you could argue it's the most important quality of the product. If you fail at that point, I think you had a stat maybe earlier that was like 88% of people or something will return. I can't remember what the stat was. Yeah, I think the benchmark isn't so new, but it's been the same for maybe 10 years now is that, like, people expect, it's called Jacob's law, which Evie might have learned in UX. People are familiar with the websites they see, and that's what they expect, and they expect good quality websites. If they're using Instagram every day, they want your app to look as like smooth and slick as Instagram, for example. And maybe one area where that has shifted over the last decade is like an improvement in like B2B apps and websites where they're expected to be, they used to be accepted as like lower quality, or back office software, is improving quite a lot. So there might be, I mean, Kate might know more than me, but there could be a lot of opportunities in the B2B space for product design in that regard. But yeah, I don't think there's been like a big shift in the last like 10 years on like how it's changed the standards. It's just par for the course now that product design is critical.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. So does Amazon Web Service said if a customer had a bad experience, it was 88% won't come back to your website. So it is absolutely critical to success in the digital space. When using these tools, do we need to pay for them? Is there a subscription model, or is it provided by the course and afterwards I'm guessing it's paid by the company? Justin, you want to touch on that one too?
Yeah, so we don't use any paid tools on the course. So Figma is free to use, and the free to use is plenty good for what you do on the course. And then some of the AI tools that we teach, like UX Pilot, free to use tool is good enough to start. We have occasionally paid for a tool for like an employer project when we had a like voice prototyping feature for voice design. But yeah, most everything is free to use. We're not asking you to do anything that you have to pay for. I mean, of course, when you get into the business space, you need a license to use Figma at scale. So it will have to be paid by someone eventually when your number of projects increases.
Thanks. Kate, I think this might be more of a question for you, but how does age play a role in getting jobs? I'm 36 years old, 12 years worked in arts and culture with 2 master's degrees, but a friend told me younger people are preferred in tech jobs, especially younger generations, which might be better with tech.
Well, I think age does not matter from the HR perspective. I've had many coincidences that I've hired 40 years or 50 years person in sales, for example. Some of the companies have the standards that our range like is from 21 to 35, but just don't look at your age. Just go for it. If you really want to do something, just do it. Choose the right company, choose the strategy, how you will approach to this company, know their business. And just it's like my simple advice, use AI for your CV to pass the ATS screening, because it helps you to go through the interview and then get your desired job.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's super reassuring as well, especially for our audience.
Thank you.
There's another question about, well, I'll just get into it. As someone who is making a career change to building a future in product design without currently much of a background in it, and looking at starting the Career Accelerator course to help me, I'm also I'm reading a response to a question, sorry. We've got a question here. I have an MBA background and I'm planning to transition into UX UI. Could you share how realistic the job opportunities are in the UK for career changes after completing this program? And for someone without a design background or experience using tools like Figma, how beginner friendly is the program? What kind of support is provided to help the students catch up? Maybe Evie, as someone who has done the program, what do you think it's accessible to beginner friendly? And then I'll move to Kate about a little bit more about the job market looks like for UX, which I know you have touched on, but maybe just to reiterate.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's suitable for any experience level, because what you're seeing with the one-to-ones with your tutor, and you have your weekly sessions with your like supervisor as well. You tailor the course to what you need to get from it. So I had a very different aim, say, to some of the other students I worked with, but we both got value out of it because so I think it's about defining what you want to achieve before you start the course and making that very clear, so that you can make the most out of it. But yeah, I would definitely say it's suitable for all experience levels.
Yeah, I think Justin could probably reaffirm that, but the program, we don't expect you to have any background in UX or in product design to take the program. We teach you everything from the ground up. And Evie's absolutely right. You work with a career coach on the program. So every learner comes into the program with a different outcome that they want to achieve through it. And again, why it's so important to chat with your enrollment advisor about what it is that you're looking for, what outcomes you want, what your goals are, and whether the Career Accelerator is the right move for that. Justin, do you want to add anything to that before I chat a little bit to Kate?
No, I was just going to say, because I came from an MBA background, that no one will, when you go into product design, like you have a lot of transferable skills from the MBA, of course, but the accreditation, of course, won't matter. What will matter are the quality of your portfolio and how you interview. And I always joke about how much money I spent on my education to become a UX designer and researcher. It definitely helped me get the job into product management from the MBA, which then ultimately led me to where I ended up. So in the long run, it's worked out, and now I'm doing a bit more product management here again at FourthRev. So yeah, just be aware that your MBA may not be like the bit on paper as important as any transferable skills and the actual design outputs that you share in your portfolio and how you interview.
And couldn't ask for a better person to provide that feedback, someone who has an MBA, so it's perfect. Kate, how realistic is the job, like our job opportunities right now for career changes, especially after completing a career accelerator that has these practical outcomes?
Well, let's speak about the UK in general, because I'm also a freshman in the United Kingdom. It's like more than 1 year I'm here. This is my second degree also in human resource management. It's really tough to find your proper job. It does not matter you have experience in your profession, in your home country or no, because in the United Kingdom, they require the local experience. But my advice for people who are thriving to get a product designer course will be that show in your CV the numbers of the projects you've done, the real work you've done, and it makes it easier for the stakeholder to make a proper decision. And at the same time, I recommend everyone, and from my real experience, that it's always the best option to do the international projects, because this is one step ahead for your career development.
And you get a certificate from King's College London, which is, a UK institute, which always...
Yeah, it's like, it's amazing experience with King's College London. And number one, maybe it will help you to get job easily. I'm thinking to change my profession, but I really love my profession. But I will definitely take this course also because it seems very interesting.
Well, Kate, you can book a call with our enrollment advisors, and we can we can talk a little bit about how we can make that happen.
Yeah, maybe.
So we are at time, but I think maybe if we can squeeze one more question in, Justin, if you don't mind. But this one is about how much of the program is focused on the hard skills of designing, or does the focus of the course maybe put more emphasis on the whole cycle of developing a product?
Sure, I can answer this. I can also help answer the one above it because they're kind of related, because this person is asking about maybe stuff beyond just the visual branding. So it doesn't just focus on the hard skill. We teach the process end to end, which means you'll be full-fledged product designer, or you could choose to focus on research or UX design or UI design. And so actually, to help maybe answer Iman's question, for the first course, we really focus on the problem space and discovery. And I know that a lot of learners would like to start designing with Figma already, but like Evie, you mentioned about learning that strategy side of things that Kate also talked about. Like if you don't know how to do the upfront, like making sure you're solving the right problem and how to find problems, and you're doing research with real people in that course one, and you're testing later real prototypes from that research. So yeah, that the whole first 6 weeks, you're not doing any hard skills. You are doing some like journey mapping and asset creations, like personas, but you're interviewing and doing other stuff on the research side. And then in course 2 and 3, each of those are 6 weeks, you start using Figma to, do your wireframes, do your prototype. And in course 3 is when we teach the UI design and the higher fidelity. So we do kind of like, start you with the easier Figma work, like user flows, just like task flows, and then learning how to wireframe, and then teaching you product design principles so that you can apply them to starting to do high fidelity design in course 3. So, we teach you quite a variety of things. Testing is an important process. So we teach you how to do usability testing so you don't rely on researchers. So it really is end to end that experience.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Justin. It's great to hear from someone who is actually on the program and can share those insights. That's it for time today, but thank you so much to the audience for participating, all the questions and all the chats. It shows that you guys have that communication, transferable skills. So you're on the cusp of a career change into UX design. Please book a call with your enrollment advisor right now. They might even be able to set you up with some early coaching access so you can get ahead of your 2026 career goals this side of the year already. They are going to be really the right person for you to start this journey. Or if you're ready to start your application, please do. Spaces are limited and the program does begin in February, but they will be best positioned to support you with that decision-making process. To my panel, Evie, Kate, Justin, thank you so much for your time today. Your insights into the industry are so insightful and so valuable. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us today. And have a good one, everyone. Hopefully see some people on the Career Accelerator soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.